Yeah, Friday! You have reached episode 51 of the Ranting Weight Watcher. I am your host, Donato Russo. I hope you enjoy the show today. If this is your first time here and you enjoy the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If the podcast app you're listening to me on allows you to rate the show, please leave a 4-star or 5-star rating. Any rating is greatly appreciated. Man, oh man, do I got a packed show today? We aren't going to hold it up. We are going to get right into it. Thank God it's Friday. Let's get into this. Journey updates. Okay, guys. I am down 9.2 pounds this week. For the month of August, we are down 6.8 pounds. Total, since January 2019, we are down 137.4 pounds. The pounds remaining to get to our small goal of getting to 253 is 5.2 pounds. The next WW milestone goal, which is to lose 150-pound milestone, is 12.6 pounds away. My big goal, which was to lose 200 pounds and then reevaluate life from there, is 62.6 pounds away. It is a great week, and it's kind of like the topic of my conversation today. I'm titling this episode, The Hard Truths About Gains and Losses. So, obviously, on August 7th, which is Saturday, I stepped on the scale, and I saw a huge loss. 9.2 pounds is an immense amount of weight. No doubt about it. And in reporting to, I have various people I report my weight loss to, and I post it on Connect and everything else. Everybody I reported to flipped out and, oh my God, that's wonderful. Holy moly, it's a huge loss. That's so awesome. And all I could think was, but yes, it's a huge loss, but how true is this loss? So the day went on, and more people congratulating me on the big loss and everything like that. I mean, I'm always, there's one thing I can say about me is I am the balancer. If I'm in a room full of people who are depressed and whatever it is, just in a bad mood, I will be the one in a good mood balancing it out. In just the same, if I'm in a room full of people who are happy and ecstatic, I'm going to be the one who's balancing it out. Okay? So I always keep my mind and my emotions, at all times I try to keep them balanced. I don't allow myself to flip out when I'm angry about it. If I do it in private, and then I get over it quickly. And I don't allow myself to celebrate when it's something like this. When there's just certain things I do allow myself to do, certain things I don't allow myself to do. And I want to get a little more into this. But first I'm going to take a break. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to the Ranting Weight Watcher. If you would like to connect on social media, we would love to connect with you. On the Weight Watchers Connect app, search for @Ranting Weight Watcher. All of our other social media links can be found at www.therantingweightwatcher.com. You can also email the show, say hello, or share your story with us. Send your emails to therantingweightwatcher@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Are you interested in Ranting Weight Watcher merchandise? The Ranting Weight Watcher merchandise store is officially open for business. Head over to www.therantingweightwatcher.com, scroll down past the welcome section to find the link to the merchandise store. Thank you so much for your support of the show. If this is your first time here, and you enjoyed the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We are proud to announce that the Ranting Weight Watcher has been rated number 6 in Feedspot.com's top 10 Weight Watchers podcasts. Click the link in the show's description if you wish to see the full list. If the podcast app you are listening with allows you to rate the show, please leave a 4-star or 5-star rating, whatever is in your heart to leave. Any rating is greatly appreciated. And now, without further delay, here is the star of the show, Donato Russo.
And we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. So, I told you a little bit about what happened this weekend with the big loss that I had and how everybody reacted to it and how I kind of kept a level head about it all. And I want to explain why. Because I am often try to keep a level head about everything, even regardless of which way it is. Whether I'm angry or depressed or celebrating and happy, I try to keep level and keep thinking clearly, because both sides of the spectrum can cloud your judgment. You could just as easily ruin all of your hard work celebrating as you can ruining all your hard work by being depressed and commiserating. Okay? So it's very easy to go off the rails either way. And I feel this way because I firmly believe that my body weight would fluctuate so much, huge amounts. Especially when I first started. When I first started on plan, I would go to weigh in on a Saturday, and all of a sudden, I'm up 6 pounds, 7 pounds. I'd be flipping out and screaming and yelling, and I how could this be possible? I did everything to the T. I tracked everything. I weighed and measured. I did all these things, and I'm up 6.5 pounds. After so many times going through this, and it would come off just as quickly as it came on. There's only so many times you can go through this, allow your emotions go off the rails when you see a gain like this, before you start to you see it as a pattern where it's part of the journey. That's what I feel like the last 5-6 weeks have been. The last 2 of those 6 weeks have been dealing with an injury, okay? But we started on an uptrend way before we hit the injury. We had 1 week where we gained a pound. Then we had a week where we stayed the same. And then we had a week where we gained another pound. And then we had a week where we gained 2 pounds. So in 4 weeks' time, we gained 4 pounds. Then I hit the injury. Now, the injury, I had put plans in place to eat less food because I knew I couldn't exercise. The first week of recovery, I lost 1 of those pounds. And everything was great, and I felt like I was doing the right thing. The second week, I went up 2.5. At this point, I'm up just about 6 pounds total, even including injury weight. I changed nothing. The attitude I planned, the plan I had put in place for dealing with the injury stayed in place. And it's still to this day, August 9th, when I'm making this recording, I am still full steam ahead with the lower point intake because I am not consistently back to my old ways of walking. Because my old walking was 7 days a week, and Monday through Friday it was 4 miles a day. Saturday, Sunday it was between 5 and 6. I'm not there yet. So I will keep it at the lower point of range of my dailies, even though I lost a point now. So technically I got to drop another point. So I'm within 7 to 10 points of my daily. So my daily's 34. I'm going to stay within 7 to 10 points. I'll leave 7 to 10 points on the table every night until I'm consistent again with where I was before. So that's what I'm going to do. This whole time when I was dealing with the weight gain, you see the number go up and you get nervous. Don't get me wrong. It's a natural emotion to get nervous, to see it go up. Natural emotion to see it go up and get angry, to get sad, all of these things. Natural emotions to see it go up. And I get frustrated to see it go up. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, especially when it goes up, like the last one, the most recent gain, 2.4 pounds. When I know I'm doing things the right way, if I'm not doing things the right way, there are times where I have a couple of nights of the week where I make some poor choices here and there. And usually Monday through Friday is my clean time. I allow myself to slack off and relax on food choices on Saturday and sometimes Sunday. You guys know this. But if something happens and I'm doing it on a Monday or a Tuesday, whatever it is, and at the end of that week is a bad week, I'm not going to flip out and scream because I know what I'm doing. I know what's wrong. I know what's wrong. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I'll say, hey, it's because of that. Not everybody's perfect. There's no one that could say that they're perfect all the time on this system. No one. On any system. Never mind Weight Watchers, on keto, on any of them. Especially the more restrictive you are, the less often you're going to be on point. I should say it reversed. The more often you're going to have situations when you're not on point. Regardless of that, I never took these gains seriously because I knew I was doing the right thing. And typically, that's why I made that rule for myself. I never make a change unless there's 3 gains in a row. And so I had my 3 gains in a row. I had planned a whole thing that I was going to do, cut down on fruit and all this stuff, because I felt like I was eating too many fruits, because the summertime is my favorite time of the year for the one reason that all of my favorite fruits come out in the summer. And I just felt like, I didn't get rid of all of my other fruits, because every day I eat, I think it's 5 servings of fruit throughout the whole day. Yeah, 5 servings of fruit throughout the whole day. And so when summer hit, I didn't drop those 5. I just added all of my favorite summer fruits. So it went from 5 to legitimately, honestly, put it all on the table, probably like 10 or 11 fruits a day. And these are all different fruits. It's not like I'm eating multiple times the same fruit. They're measured too. Like a cup of grapes, I have it pre-measured. I have a cup of grapes, but I have that every day of the year. I mean, every lunch, there's a cup of grapes and an orange with my sandwich. Like I said, once the nectarines came out, the mangoes, and all of the summertime delicious fruits that come out in the summer, when they all came out, I just added them to the list. I did not. And I know this because, I go through this with salty stuff too. I get this craving for a deli pickle. And then whenever I get in this mood, I'll tell my wife to go, when she goes grocery shopping, add deli pickles to the list. And I go through the motions, and then I go. And I know every time I get on this deli pickle kick and I want it with a sandwich every day for lunch, I know I'm going to gain weight because there's a ton of salt in pickles, ton of sodium. I get into these modes where I want a pickle. I just want it. So I get a jar, and I have it every day with lunch, and then the weight starts to go up. The scale starts to go the wrong direction, and I know it every time I'm going in, but eventually the scale goes up enough for me to say, hey, okay, we're done with this craving for pickles. And we get rid of the pickles, and I start pounding water, and guess what happens? It goes right back to the way it was. The weight fluctuation is gone as quickly as it comes. So I can't say to you a 2.4 pound gain is a gain of fat. Do you understand? That's the whole point of me telling you all of this. When I gained that 2.4, that last gain, I did not take it seriously. I was frustrated, don't get me wrong, because I knew I couldn't do anything about it except eat less, and drink more water because I was still injured. So I was up 2.4 pounds. I know it's not 2.4 pounds of fat because I'm eating less food. It's as simple as that. Okay? So I didn't take it. I took it with a grain of salt. I said, this is not a true gain. When you go up over 3 weeks and 4 weeks' time, it is a little more of a trend. And that's the kind of thing that happens when I get in my pickle kick. I start eating the pickles and I start to climb over weeks' time, not days' time. Okay? And so when I start to make that climb, I make the correction and I'm right back in the right direction. This gain of 2.4 while I was injured, I never took it seriously because I know I could hold 5-6 pounds of weight in my leg alone because I have lymphedema in my right leg. And the weight fluctuation, you cannot take the scale this seriously. My scale can fluctuate 6-7 pounds in a single week because of the size of my leg. And we could even go, I mean, I never went this crazy, but in reality, we can go crazy with this and we could really start measuring the leg and weigh in every week. And we can like coincide gains with how big the leg is versus losses with how big the leg is. I never really bothered to do that because I know I don't take it seriously like that when I have huge gains, is because the fluctuations I've had in the past, they came off just as easy as they came on. And so if you're not going to take a gain seriously, if you're going to say, well, a 2.4 gain is not 2.4 pounds of fat, that's fine. And now just in the same token, because this whole journey is a two-edged sword here. You have to be able to say, if you're going to say that a gain can't be taken seriously because it's not like you gain 2.4 pounds of fat, just the same when you have a 9-pound loss, like I did this week, you can't take it serious because I didn't lose 9 pounds of fat. I lost plenty of inflammation from an injury. I lost God knows whatever water gain from taking anti-inflammatory medication, from not moving, all kinds of stuff. I had plenty of artificial weight. That's a good way to put it, right? Artificial weight. So water retention, inflammation, all of these things that are going on in my body because of an injury and because of medication I'm on. I cannot take the gain seriously. I cannot take the loss seriously because one goes with the other. You take the good with the bad. They go together. If you're not going to take a gain seriously because you know you retain water and you have inflammation, then you can't take the loss seriously either when it comes because you lost the inflammation and you managed to expel the water. And that's basically where I'm at here. That's my point of the day here. We can't be so consumed with big losses if we are going to make the choice and not be consumed with big gains. We're going to stick with this when we come back. We're going to talk a little more about the scale and how to approach life and what it takes to be truly successful in this field. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Nothing can stand in my way because I am an unstoppable force. My challenges crumble in my presence because I am so strong. My insecurities no longer have power over my life because I am so confident. My mistakes are my choices, and I am okay with this because I am so intelligent. The mirror and scale can no longer haunt me because I am so beautiful. I can face any circumstance with unwavering support because I am so loved. The demons of my past can no longer haunt me because I now love myself. All things are possible as long as I believe because God is on my side. I will achieve all of the goals, not if, but when, because I have no boundaries. I am the champion of my story because I do whatever it takes to win. No one can take what I've done away from me because I am the author and the hero of my story. I'm coming. Victory is mine because I am enough. And we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. Now, we've been talking today about the scale and gains and losses and how to, try to keep a level head with all of this, okay? So I want to get a little bit into the scale itself. The one thing I could say that I covered with this story and with the last segment, I truly believe I've given you proof that the scale cannot be the primary measurement. It can be a primary goal, but it cannot be the measurement of success. It is a measurement of what's going on in your body. It's a single data point. If you're doing stuff like measuring body fat percentage and all that stuff, there is a bunch of other data points you can go by. And if you're taking measurements regularly, you have those data points to go by. But these are all not measurements of success. They are tools to measure progress and data, okay? They're not tools of success. Because the one thing no one really concentrates on, and even me, I did not concentrate on this. I never even thought of this, to be honest with you, until this time around. My mindset was different. I knew I had to make lasting change. In order to make lasting change, I had to change my behavior. And so that's my point here. The scale is great to monitor trends. If you're trying to monitor an uptrend or a downtrend in your current weight loss journey, the scale is a great tool to do that. But it's not a great tool to measure success. Because if you're going to use the scale to measure success, then the gains are going to feel like failure. Do you see? You take the good with the bad. That's the point I made in the last segment. If you're going to use the scale as a measurement of success, then the gains are going to be measurements of failure. You can't say one is not and the other is. It just doesn't go that way, because you may say it all you want, but in the reality, it isn't going to be that way in your head. You're going to beat yourself up at some point because you're sick and tired of gains. So what do we do? What do we do to measure true success here? Here's what I want to get to, is because this time around, when I joined, I realized pretty quickly the one thing I never did on any other time that I was on Weight Watchers or doing any other amount of things here. I'm talking about endless amounts of attempts of losing weight in my life. European diet, grapefruit diet, Atkins diet, you name it, I probably tried it. And I'm sure all of these things work in their own right. Okay? But the one thing I never did with any of those things, including Weight Watchers in the past, was create consistency. Your success in this system could be measured by creating consistency. Because if you don't have consistency in your life, uptrends and downtrends are going to happen much more often. Don't get me wrong. It's not a steady downward slope for me either. But overall, when I look at my graph of weight loss, it's a downward trend. And I feel with all of my heart, the biggest portion of my success goes to my attitude toward being consistent. And what I started with was creating consistency in my eating. I had to become even with my eating. I could not have these wild binges. I had to become centered. I had to create a lifestyle to fit in the bad things and live with those choices because they were a choice to make, and also do good. Okay? So when I joined Weight Watchers, and I think I've said this before, and if I have, I'm sorry if you're rehearing this. I concentrated on finding the foods I enjoyed. So if I enjoyed cottage cheese, I looked for a brand of cottage cheese that I liked, that was worth a certain amount of points that I was willing to use for that cottage cheese. In my quest in the beginning, I would say the first 3 months, my quest was to find the foods I liked. And so then my next goal for consistency was now to create good habits in eating. Now, I decided that one of my biggest bad habits was waiting until the point where I was famished and starving, and then I would go run into the kitchen and not have a plan. And so while I was making my lunch, I was eating everything else I could get my hands on. Then I would sit down and eat my lunch. So I had to do the opposite of this in order to create consistency. To create consistency, I decided to eat on a schedule rather than eat when I'm hungry. Now, there's many people out there that think I'm nuts for doing this. What do you mean you eat when you're not hungry? I mean, I'm eating because it's 6:30. I'm eating because it's 10:30. I'm eating because it's 1 o'clock, 2:30, 5:30. And anything beyond 5:30, I'm not eating unless it's a Saturday night and I want to have a little something. We go through it all. I start to schedule my eating. And I essentially make it so that I never come to the point when I feel hungry. Oh, it's 6:30, time to eat my breakfast sandwich. Oh, it's 10:30, time to eat second breakfast. And as I went through, I realized that it was much easier to follow the plan if I never felt hungry. If I was eating on this schedule, I never came to the point where, and then my next obstacle became to defeat the craving for something sweet at the end of the night. So what did I do there? I mean, I've told this again many times. I found an article that said if you want to end your sweet cravings at the evening hours, you make sure that there are high amounts of protein in dinner. Because if the dinner plate, the majority of the dinner plate is protein, then your body will be so consumed with trying to digest the protein, you won't get to the point where you have a sweet craving. But you know what happened after I made this change? The article was right. I looked at the clock, and all of a sudden it's almost 11 p.m., and I didn't even have a sweet craving. And now to this day, ever since I adopted this, there is no sweet craving. I created consistency in my eating successfully. I changed bad habits so I no longer had binges in the middle of the night. And I did so by allowing myself to have bad choices one night a week. All of a sudden, I'm looking at a cookie and I'm saying, well, that could wait till Saturday. Where if I saw a cookie before, I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do I'm going to have it now. I can't deny myself this because I'm just going to want it more and more. Instead, I looked at it and said, totally, we have a date. I would look at a cookie and say, we have a date on Saturday night. It sounds crazy to say it that way, but it's true. It's true. Let's have a little fun with this. You see a commercial on TV, you see this big fatty looking cheeseburger, and you're like, oh yeah, you and me, Saturday night. But that's basically how it would do it. And because of that promise to myself, all of a sudden making good choices throughout the rest of the week became a little easier. Once I got to the point where I felt like my eating was consistent, I decided to create consistency in movement. And so began my journey. I made these consistency in movement by making small commitments to myself. My movement journey started with a commitment. I said, I commit to myself 20 minutes of walking 3 days a week. I did not say what days. It could be there's 7 days in a week, just 3 days within 7. I had to give 20 minutes to myself and walk. I didn't even set pace goals. I didn't even set anything else. All I wanted was time, 20 minutes. I didn't even leave my parking lot because I wasn't confident I'd be able to go very far and then have to come back. And I did this with a commitment of 3 days a week for 4 weeks. And I promised myself that I would make no changes to this until the 4 weeks was up. So before I knew it, I was on the 4th week. And I was on that 3rd walk of the 4th week. And I was thinking about it because here I am. I made the promise to myself that I would make no changes for 4 weeks. Now it's time to make a change. I made it. I just made a commitment to myself, and I accomplished that commitment. My next commitment to myself was to up the 3 days to 30 minutes 3 days a week. And again, I made this commitment to myself for 4 weeks. I would make no changes. Once that 4 weeks was up, I went to a 4th day. Once the next 4 weeks was up, I went to 45-minute walks. At this point, circling my parking lot became boring. So I took the 45-minute challenge and actually left my parking lot for the first time and started to venture out into the neighborhood. 45 minutes became an hour, 4 days a week. Each one of these changes happened after 4 weeks of time. Here I am now trying to make my way back to 7 days a week. And now time is no longer a factor. Now I'm concentrating more on distance. However long it takes for me to walk 4 miles, however long it takes for me to walk 5 to 6 miles on Saturday and Sunday. And I have been following that exact plan for the last few weeks. And every single one of them, except dealing with this injury being a separate thing, all of these things regarding movement, all of these changes I made, all made over 4 weeks of time. So many, many, many weeks of creating consistency and movement. What I created here, I feel, is true lasting success. I think that consistency is the measurement that creates champions. Because when you look at the greatest athletes of our time, all of them are like the epitome of consistency. If you ever took the time, I wonder if you can Google search this, but I watched once a video about Tom Brady. I'm no Tom Brady fan, okay? Let's just make that straight. I am a 49ers fan, and Joe Montana was my guy. But I saw this thing once on TV about Tom Brady's diet. This man's in his 40s, and he's a quarterback still at the top of his game. And, many quarterbacks at this age start to, deteriorate and say goodbye to the game they love. But Tom Brady, and it's got to be attributed to his diet. If you ever take a moment and try to search, maybe there's a YouTube video on it, I don't know what it is, but it's so crazy. And he's so consistent with it. You got to have respect for it. For someone to have that level of dedication. And as much as, when you watch Michael Jordan, when you watch all of these athletes, these premier athletes, and what they created for consistency to stay at the top of the game that they loved, I could easily say the consistency I created is a measurement of champions. So what will you take from today's podcast? I wonder. Could we possibly take a moment here and forget about how the value we have placed into the scale? Is it possible? I tell you it is, because I tell you I've done it. Because if I could consistently say this gain doesn't mean much because it's not like I gained fat, or this loss doesn't mean much because it's not like I lost fat. If I am living this, it's because I have found another way to measure success. And that way is consistency. I have preached consistency to you all for weeks and weeks and months that I've been sitting here. And we're here almost a year now that I'm talking to you guys week after week. And the one thing I value most in my success is consistency. And I'm telling you, I promise you, if you could start to value consistency the way that I value it, not only will you find success, you will find success at a level you never, ever, ever thought possible. And maybe one day you'll be telling the world, forget the scale, it's just a data point. It's just something you use to measure trends. It is not a measurement of your success in this journey, because all that matters is you need to create consistency in your life. Consistency in eating, consistency in movement, consistency in every aspect of your life. You do these things, not only will the scale go down, but everything else will just start to work. And you'll say, how come I didn't do this in the first place? How could I have ignored this so many years of my life? It is so simple. It is so simple to think about. Create consistency. Change bad habits, turn them into good habits. Be consistent in those good habits. Allow yourself to make bad choices and keep going. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.